Essa biografia, em que a gente aprende tantas coisas maravilhosas, só existe porque a escritora Toni Morrison convenceu a senhora a escrevê-la quando a senhora tinha 28 anos. E por tudo que eu li, foi ali que a senhora se tornou amiga da Toni Morrison. Eu queria que a senhora contasse um pouco como foi que vocês se conheceram e quais as melhores memórias a senhora guarda da Toni Morrison.
Yeah, Toni Morrison was the person who persuaded me to write this autobiography. I did not know her before she approached me. She was an editor. She wasn't Toni Morrison, right? She was a woman who worked at Random House, which is a major publishing company. And she approached me and asked me if I would be interested in writing an autobiography, and I said no. I said, who writes an autobiography when they're still in their 20s? I mean, it didn't make sense to me. And then I said, besides, I don't consider myself as a model. Usually people who write autobiographies share their life experiences with the world because people are supposed to find meaning and supposed to be able to find ways to emulate that person. And so I told Toni, I said, no, I don't think so. You know, besides, I knew what kind of autobiography the major publishing companies wanted. You know, they wanted to know, well, you can imagine. You know, all about your sexual experience. You know what I'm talking about. And I said, I'm not going to do that. And I told Toni, I said, well, the only way I could possibly consider writing an autobiography would be to write a political autobiography, and one that not only allows me to reflect on my own individual experiences, but the experiences of movements, the experiences of all of the communities of struggle. And so finally I agreed. But what's interesting is that she had to fight with those in the hierarchy of the publishing company because they weren't really interested in political, autobiography. They wanted to take advantage of the fact that people knew my name at that particular moment to sell a lot of books and so forth. But I learned a great deal from Toni Morrison. I'm still kind of reeling from her. She died the beginning of July. And I still haven't come to grips with the fact that she's no longer here. And I think I said in a eulogy for her funeral that many people around the world will say that Toni Morrison is not dead because her work is still with us and affecting us and moving us. And that's certainly true. But I said that, those of us who knew her can hardly imagine a world without her laugh. And everyone who knows her knew exactly what I was talking about. But in case people weren't aware of the fact that she was responsible for the rise of Black women's literature when she was an editor, before she actually became known as a novelist. She found writers and publishers. At one point she said something like, I'm not the person who's out in the streets marching. I'm not doing that work, but what I can do is make sure there is a historical record. And so she published Muhammad Ali's autobiography, she published Huey Newton, George Jackson. She very strategically decided how she was going to make her mark. And then, of course, later she became one of the most well-known novelists in the world. She was absolutely incredible. I could spend the rest of the evening talking about her.